Rumour has it the Canon R7 will be the best sports and wildlife camera. Let's look into that. Hi, I'm Tom and you're watching Rumour Has It. Please subscribe for camera news, rumour and informed opinion. It's free to subscribe and it helps the channel grow. It also allows a free entry to the subscriber draw. Check the link above. The 7D Mark II was rightly considered one of the best wildlife cameras when it was released in 2014. Since then, with the advent of mirrorless cameras, Fuji and Sony came out with world-class cameras. With a huge investment in lenses and mirrorless bodies, fast frame rates and high autofocus, they were leading the field. However, Canon have hit back with the R5, which brought superior autofocus with dual pixel 2, a fact which many independent reviewers agree with. Not only is the eye autofocus algorithm superior, but crucially the hit rate of sharp to unsharp shots is higher. This is more important than high frame rates, something that Sony users are finding out with the Sony A1. I've seen tests where poor results from the Sony A1 are blamed on old lenses, but Canon has no such problem using older EF glass. The Canons hold 20 frames per second consistently with high hit rate regardless of lens and even third-party lenses, providing the battery is above 60%. Now that Canon users have the R5 and R6 to choose from, do they really need an R7? This is a question I've seen on a few forums. Well, if you look at the demographics of who buys the 7D Mark II, you'll see that many of them are wildlife and sports photographers on a budget. The lower cost of crop sensors coupled with lenses like the EF 70-300 or the EF 100-400 were a fantastic entry point for these photographers. It gave the perfect balance between cost, reach, and framing to produce similar to the professional results from full-frame cameras with big whites. Comparing the R6 with a 20 megapixel sensor and using a 600mm f4 lens, an R7 APS-C sensor camera with a 400mm lens will give a very similar framed image, but with 32 megapixels, which will be more detailed because of the higher pixel density. This is an area where Fuji have excelled with cameras like the X-T4. After all, it's about getting more pixels on the bird without the weight and the cost of big whites. This is the main reason Canon have a crop frame camera in their semi-professional lineup. Though there is often a cost to crop frame sensors in terms of noise, dynamic range and wide angle, the capabilities of new sensors have overcome some of these limitations. Obviously not the wide angle. You can't change the laws of physics, Captain. There are also advantages to consider in price, weight, vignette and zoom effect. This is why the R7 would be more attractive than a full-frame R5 or R6 when it comes to wildlife for advanced amateurs. So let's see what might be in store for us when Canon, or if Canon, release the R7. This is my own informed opinion and I've attempted to keep this as realistic as possible, but there's no guarantee Canon will release this camera soon. In fact, the rumours are fast drying up, and the latest say there will be a continued delay. Then there's the large public poll in Japan which came out against the Olympics happening. This seems to have thrown more doubt into the arena, so to speak. Although rumours have gone quiet, we still hear the R7 is in the wild being beta tested. But given all the necessary tech exists, could it be that something else is being beta tested? As Craig at Canon Rumours recently pointed out, they were working on an RF mount to APS-C lens. This could be the reason for the extended testing being done in the field, on what is otherwise existing tech. Let's take a look at what's possible with that existing tech. Taking the sensor first, the 32 megapixel APS-C sensor already exists in the M6 Mark II. Looking at IBIS, We have 8 stops of stability in lens and in body stabilisation with the R5 and R6, the best image stability currently available. Looking at autofocus, Dual Pixel 2 autofocus from Canon R5 and R6 with improved AI learning and advanced algorithms. This is an area where the others are now playing catch up. Looking at the shutter, a mechanical frame rate of 14 frames per second is current on the M6, and this is possible using a Digic 8 processor. This suggests an even higher shutter speed is possible using a Digic X on an APS-C sensor. Therefore, a higher frame rate of up to 30 frames per second to equal this impressive Sony A1 should be possible. But don't expect Canon to offer a frames per second that can't keep up a good hit rate. They may hold this at 20 frames per second and wait for the R1 before they give us 30 frames per second. Viewfinder. The R6 viewfinder at 3.69 million dots and 120 Hz refresh rate is nothing like the Sony A1, but then the R7 will cost a fraction of the A1. The camera will have dual card slots, 2 UHS-2s the same as the R6. As a photography first camera, rates of 300 megabytes per second offered by these cards will be sufficient. Looking at the processor, the Digic X processor from the R5 and R6, but this time optimised for frame rate, pushing fewer pixels from a smaller sensor than the R5, it should be able to optimise for that mechanical frame rate of 14 per second and an electronic frame rate of 30 frames per second. Now looking at the buffer. Given the smaller file size from an APS-C sensor, I expect the R7 will have a better buffer performance than the R6, which in itself is almost unlimited at 1000 JPEGs and 240 RAW frames. Moving on to video. As a photography first camera, Canon are likely to optimise the Digic X for autofocus and frames per second rather than video, so it's likely the Canon R7 will get the same as the R6, 4K by 60 uncropped, 1080 by 120. But looking at the competition like the Fuji X-T, Canon might push this to 1080 by 240. They might. Canon already have all this tech available. The question is, will they give it to us? Time will tell. But remember, no Canon crop frame camera has been paired with the power of the Digic X yet, so anything is possible. I'll be glued to the news feeds in the run-up to CP Plus 2021. With strong rumours of an R7 being in the field testing, is it realistic to expect it will be announced then? Or is there just too many delays in manufacturing, and Canon can't keep up with the R5 and the R6 demand? Thanks for watching Rumour Has It. I hope you found this useful. Please click the subscribe button below, it really helps the channel grow. And for my part, I'll continue to bring you camera news, rumour and informed opinion.